Digimon Seekers Chapter 3, Part 2. We do what we do to uphold the law and fulfill our professional duties. We fear nothing. We harbor no ill will. Our conscience is our only guide. Yue Shu, head of the Metropolitan Police Department's Unit 11, a special section of the Community Safety Bureau's Cybercrime Division, colloquially referred to as the Digi-Police, patrolled the lawless network from the skies, mind-linked to her partner Digimon. Juuguruma, her dragon-like ultimate-level Digimon, found itself some codecracker Digimon on this particular patrol, and they were now rounding up the miscreants with its powerful omnidirectional attacks. The Digimon, for its part, recalled the dragons of Southeast Asia. Its black reptilian skin gave contrast to its regal, golden whiskers and plumage, which at a glance took on a handcrafted quality. It wore appropriately scale-like armor and clutched two massive jewels in each set of ferocious talons. Ryudamon, Yueling's partner Digimon, looked fully mature in its ultimate form. His Yaryumon, ultimate beast dragon, vaccine code crackers contained, Yueling announced in the Digi-Police chat. "Well done, squad leader. You're as sharp as ever," came a near-instant reply. "Spare me the flattery and alert processing, Satsuki." "On it!" Deputy Squad Leader Satsuki Tamahime replied in classic carefree fashion, hitting the code crackers with one more attack from her Numamon as she contacted the appropriate officers. It was a day like any other on one of the net's government servers, with all manner of cyber warfare ripe for the thwarting. In Japan, that duty fell to the police, largely thanks to Yueling's presence at the department. The Public Safety Bureau and Ministry of Defense had no real anti-Digimon units to speak of, meaning Yueling's unit was Japan's de facto line of defense against Digimon crime. "What did we catch, Hishiryumon?" Yueling asked, hololizing herself as Hishiryumon alighted near one of the restrained Digimon. "Familiar foes all, cyborg-type Digimon engineered for data collection," came the reply. A top-line analysis of the seized Digimon gleaned from Hishiryumon's scans. "So it seems. They were off to state secrets. Judging by their backup functions and other tools, I would venture that they were sent by a familiar overseas adversary," Hishiryumon continued, extrapolating from their initial analysis. Yueling trusted Hishiryumon's analysis more than that of any so-called expert in the field. A cat-and-mouse game. "It appears there are still a few in operation. What say you? Shall we send one or two back, perhaps with a little souvenir in hand? If your hunch as to who's behind the attack is correct, this is above our pay grade." The Japanese police meddling in international issues best left to diplomats and international courts was a recipe for disaster. Even if they were wrong, current law forbade preemptive strikes on other nations' servers. Yes, indeed. But why not? It's not likely to have any bearing on what happens to them once they return to their home countries. Yueling was in a rather playful mood. Why shouldn't she engage in a bit of petty revenge? "As you wish," his Yaryumon said cheerily, and set to work on the restrained Digimon. Yueling drifted back into her own memories at the sight of the interface on his Yaryumon's forehead. She once knew someone who had a Digimon with the same tech attached to their forehead. "Where are you now, Kosuke? What are you up to with that Digimon of yours?" Our story begins quite some time before Eiji Nagasumi was born. Yue Shu attended a university at the forefront of net research at the time, which meant investigating some mysterious AI data that had just been discovered. There were whispers that another world different from our own existed on the network, in which unknown AI programs were leading their own lives. Common wisdom, of course, dictated that humanity had discovered and developed the net. After gathering more data, however, another hypothesis emerged. What if the network had always existed? What if humanity had discovered not the net itself, but merely a means of accessing it? What if the intelligent life humanity had long scanned the heavens, for already existed in the digital world, right here on Earth? Tomonori Ryusenji quickly emerged as one of the preeminent figures in the race to explore and study this new frontier, and he'd tapped 3 of his most vibrant young scholars to assist him in his laboratory. The completion of the Denrin district signaled the dawn of a new era for Tokyo, and before long, steel skeletons awaiting their new concrete skins loomed over the nearby Wangan district as well. Dump trucks and heavy machinery brought other materials into the district as the systematic renewal of the capital got underway. Yueling walked through her university's campus, trying to picture a world in which all the buildings around her had vanished. The entire campus was to be merged with the up-and-coming Denrin district in just a few years' time, as difficult as it was for her to envision it then. She couldn't help but feel a bit weird about the whole endeavor. It would be such a dramatic transformation. The air conditioning unit inside Ryusenji Laboratories rattled away. circulating cool air in an eternal struggle to counteract the heat radiating off the many servers humming along on steel racks that partitioned the room. "Good morning, Professor Ryusenji," Yueling said, despite the fact that it was already well into the evening. It was a cute custom in the lab, and she wasn't about to break it. "Morning, Yueling," the assistant professor responded, without lifting his eyes from the monitor before him. "Got some mail for you," Yueling said, scattering a pile of envelopes on his desk. "Mm-hmm," Ryusenji grunted, as was his style. Yueling wondered how long he'd been locked in a staring contest with his monitor. "I've delivered the mail, okay? Acknowledge me with your words and eyes so we don't end up playing Did Yueling Deliver the Mail? I hate that game." There's the bug. Who wrote this awful code? You, probably. Eh? No, couldn't have been. Could it? All he had to do was look at the commit history to find his answer, and yet. Has my proposal to establish a proper server room still not been approved? It's freezing in here. Yueling griped as she took up the jacket hanging on the back of her chair and put it on. They're going to move the entire campus over the next several years. That's been reason enough to refuse funding for projects of all shapes and sizes. They're holding on to every last bit of money they can. And yet they're on our case, in the best of times, for using too much electricity. I'm trying to help, Yueling scoffed. I keep telling them how important the next 3 years will be, Ryusenji grumbled. He did a lot of that these days. I hear investment in our field is quietly exploding around the world. Like, exponentially. Our advantage could vanish overnight. What are the politicians going to do if the world leapfrogs us? Should we get the jump on it and go overseas now? I bet you'd be in high demand. Wait just a minute, Yueling. Are you proposing we turn around and sell our nation's crown jewel for a song? Yelped a voice through one of the steel racks. There, on 3 chairs lined up in between the racks themselves, lay a man. Didn't see you there, Kosuke, Yueling said coolly to the upperclassman. Slept in the office again, he said matter-of-factly. Judging by the increasingly thick scruff on his face and the fact that he was in the same clothes she saw him in the day before last, Yueling suspected again was code for hadn't been home in several days. Unkempt or not, Kosuke Kisakata was part of the Ryusenji Laboratories team. At least wash your face and brush your teeth. Did you even bring a change of clothes? Oh, about that. Kosuke began when the door to the lab burst open, revealing a petite woman. Feeding time, you feral beasts! In a flurry of activity, she shoved aside the items on the meeting table to make room for a stack of takeaway beef bowls. Oh, yes, I'm starving. Here's your change of clothes, Kosuke, she said, tossing him a paper bag. Saya, did you go all the way to Kosuke's house to get him a change of clothes? Yep. Oh, and don't worry, I brought you some food, too. Pork bowl, right? Saya beamed, handing Yueling a takeaway bowl. Thanks. Here's some cash. Put that away, it's Dad's. I mean the professor's treat. It came with a pork miso soup, too. Whoa, really? Wow, you don't see that every day, Yueling said with no small amount of surprise as she glanced over at Professor Ryusenji. End of Chapter 3, Part 2.